then we'll probably do that as well. But we'll base that, on demand. I want to move over to the next question. Portia, over to you, Portia.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I just want to ask a question regarding the maternity benefits. I think Michelle was going to.
Okay, looks like we just lost Portia.
Yes. Maybe she
oh,
can ask again when she rejoins.
when she rejoins. Yeah, we'll move over to Winston. Winston, over to you. Winston Oscar Malinga.
Hello. Hi, Vishal. Sorry, I was removed from the meeting. I'm not sure how.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Okay,
shame.
Portia.
Sorry.
There we go.
Thanks.
Over to you.
Thanks for
Okay.
allowing me this. I'm getting a bit concerned. I'm not sure if it might ruffle some feathers, the question that I'm going to ask. Because jointly with MIPCO, my view is if the guys have until the first to be able to opt out, whilst they have not digested what they are coming into, because as employers, we have not even had the opportunity to present the total package of what is being offered so that we can ventilate it properly with our employees. Wouldn't that give a bitter pill to swallow? Because if a person's going to opt out and already he has not had the chance to understand what he's getting into, it will be my recommendation to say if we can at least extend the time, get the guys to digest this and make their option. Because we know the sector and the industry that we're working in, that every single cent counts. A person cannot even be able to come to work because they don't have 100 rands to come to work. Or you've deducted 50 rands by mistake. That will create a serious conundrum. So I would like a bit of sensitivity to be exercised based on that. Thank you.
I think very valid questions there. Winston, may I ask perhaps, Michelle, I'm not sure that you're going to take that. I think this might be from the council side.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah. Ku or Marwan?
Michelle,
Yes.
Michelle is Paulus Masamula here.
Hello, Paulus. Welcome.
And good morning to everyone and compliments of the new year. I'm attending this session via my cell phone because I will be driving just now. So to give the members of SAPRA an idea of how the whole thing is going to work and the intention of it. So the benefit is coming into effective from the 1st of February. Now, you would have noticed that we had quite a short space of time to prepare and to put things into perspective based on the outcomes of the wage negotiations. I first want to start by addressing the earlier question as well and clarify it. There's a gentleman who asked in terms of what happens if the employee opt out of the medical insurance. Now, that particular amount is included in the amount of increase that was negotiated. So if a person opt out, that particular person must still be paid for that particular 85 rands because it forms part of the bigger increase. So what the employers and the trade unions agreed on was out of, let's say, for example, for a forecourt attendant in year one, it's 6%. That means out of the 6%, 1% was reserved for this particular benefit. So even if the person opt out, they will still be eligible for that particular increase. Now, the benefit is coming into effect from the 1st of February 2025. Based on the settlement agreement, employees will have 60 days to opt out if starting actually from the 1st of February. However, as soon as we send the forms, we will then allow members or employees in the industry to start completing if they wish to opt out. And we will still give Affinity an opportunity to contact that particular member, to educate that particular member. And if that particular member still does not want this benefit, then they will opt out. Now, from the 1st of February, we will be raising a billing based on the 259 that must be payable to Affinity. And in this 60-day period, then we will be receiving those forms and processing those forms. Of course, through our return system, if a person has opted out, employers will be able to create those breaks and no payment is due. However, since the benefit will be available, if an employee makes use of that particular benefit, that particular employee will be deemed to have opted in by virtue of the employee making use of that benefit. So that's how the system is structured. And you will recall, colleagues, that this is the outcome of the wage negotiations. And taking into consideration everything that has happened, we went through the processes, we hired actuaries to determine the need of this particular product in the industry and to determine how sustainable it will be and to determine the costs and to determine the appointment of the service provider. So it is for the benefit of those employees in the industry. And it did not just start now. It started basically way back with the other negotiations prior to these current ones of the 3 years. So it has been long outstanding, and employees are basically awaiting this particular benefit. And MIPCO will be, of course, processing those opt-out from the 1st of February 2025 after we've raised the billing. I hope that I have clarified some of the questions that might have been raised.
Paulus, thanks for that. Very comprehensive. Paulus is GS CEO at MIPCO. Very comprehensive understanding of that process. There's many questions in the chat box coming through relating to the opt-in, opt-out. Sorry, there seems to be an echo. Okay, I'll move over to the next question. Thank you for that, Paulus. The next question, we go back to Portia. Portia, if you're still here, I know you try to come through. Portia, if you're still here, come through the question, please.
Yeah, yes, thank you, Vishal. I'm still here. My question was in relation to maternity benefits. From what Michelle mentioned earlier on was that the benefit, this whole medical aid, the benefit is applicable to the employee only. So I could have missed one point with regards to whether when an employee is pregnant, are they covered for hospitalization with the delivery? And if that is the case, then is the baby that has been born not covered in the medical aid? Because I couldn't understand whether if an employee is covered and they give birth, but the child then is not covered in the medical aid. And I think my second question is in relation, I hear her referring to state hospitals. Does this mean that we only cover state hospitals, no private hospitals? Those are my two questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. Okay, so to confirm, the maternity benefit is the pre-hospital cover only. So it'll be your antenatal care, your first and your second scan through one of our GPs on our network. When it comes to delivering the baby, there is no benefit for a private delivery. So the members will have to have their baby at a state hospital or privately at their own expense. Again, benefits are only available at this point in time as negotiated, and the General Secretary did mention that an actuary was appointed and the benefit structure has been designed around that there is only cover for the main member, which is your employee. So there's no cover for dependents. I hope that answers that question. And then the last thing is, again, private hospitalization is if the member is involved in if there is a result of an accidental cause. So if the member is, let's say, at home and chops their finger off and it needs to be reattached, that hospitalization is through our network of hospitals, and there are private hospitals on that network. If the member is sick with pneumonia, he is probably going to have to be treated in a state facility.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Portia. Michelle, next one is from Roadside Service Station. Come through.
Hi, it's Lorinda here. I just got two questions for you guys. If a member decides not to join straight away, can he decide it a bit later in the year? That's my first question. And the second one is regarding the opt-out form. If that form only gets signed by the 1st of February, okay, my wages are due now, end of this month. I need to take off that money from their salary to pay MIPCO by the 10th. So how will that work then? Do I have to then like add a member and then take it off? Can you please just advise me?
Vishal, I will take that one as well. I'm still on the road.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, Paulus. Thank you, Paulus.
Thanks for that great question, ma'am. So how it's going to work, as the COO has said, the benefit is compulsory to all the Sector 5 employees, the 3 categories of the employees that have been mentioned. So since the benefit is compulsory, MIPCO is going to raise the forecast with the next forecast generation of February. Now, along with that, we will be managing the opt-out options. If there's an opt-out option, we will have to process that opt-out option, and the employer can, through the return system, be on track, because the form is going to require 2 signatures, one from the employee and one from the employer, so that the employer can know that this particular employee is opting out. We don't want to bypass the employers, because employers are they are important stakeholders, and they are responsible for ensuring that their employees are either covered or deductions are happening accordingly in compliance with the MIPCO collective agreements. So what's going to happen is that on the 1st, benefits are opened. The forecast is raised. Remember, during that period, it means Affinity would have invested money to make sure that benefits are available even without receiving any payment. If you have an employee who gets injured at work or by accident or whatever, then they'll still be able to claim. Now, what's going to happen is, as you receive the forms from the employees to opt out, because you have to start those deductions immediately. The next forecast generations will be around the 25th. Now, deductions should start happening immediately unless you receive the opt-out form from the employee. And then through the return system, just like how you do it now, when you do the terminations, when you've got a site revamp or a site, when you're experiencing short time, you go into return system and then you create the breaks. So that's how it's going to work. Nothing is changing. Similar to the current system that we are using, on this particular product, we'll still be using the same thing. So if there are any queries, MIPCO, the employer, and the employee will liaise in terms of saying, here is the opt-out form. There was not supposed to be any deductions. There's supposed to be breaks, and then that member should be terminated from the medical insurance perspective. So from the onset, there will be a billing because it is compulsory. It is a negotiated benefit. Thank you, Vishal.
Thanks so much, Paulus. Thanks for clarifying that one. I'm going to move swiftly through the questions. The questions are coming in quite in quite a rush. Corleen, over to you. Corleen van Heerden, your question, please.
Hi guys, sorry. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you for the meeting. Just have a couple of questions. Can managers also join for the monthly premiums?
I'm going to ask the bargaining. Can you all hear me? I'm going to ask the bargaining council to confirm that. I'm not sure if there's classifications around membership.
Okay. Michelle, once again, through you, with your permission. So the benefit has been designed for 3 occupational categories. That is your cashier, your chair, and your forecourt attendant. And therefore, for those members who are willing to join voluntarily, we still have the time. If there's a need, we will engage our parties to the council. We are meeting them sometime next week, and we are meeting also Affinity next week. We can design something that will enable those voluntary employees to join in, wherein the deduction will come directly from them and be paid over. Remember, colleagues, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. It's the first time we were having a medical insurance in the industry. It has been implemented in other industries, that is your private security, your road freight industries, bargaining council, and so forth. So we will experience challenges, of course, at the beginning, but as the process smoothens out, we will be fine. So COO, please put that on the agenda so that we engage the parties and Affinity in terms of voluntary membership into the fund, and then we can address them through the secular and ongoing trainings and meetings. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Paulus. Thanks for clarifying that point. Clearly, you can see this is a new concept, and like we identifying, there's many challenges that will come with a new concept. I think to that as well, there's many opportunities that will present itself. So whilst we go through this gremlin stage, let's do it together, and let's hold each other's hands through the process until we have a seamless operation. I'll move to the next
Michelle?
question. Sorry, yeah, go for it. Sorry,
The other
Colleen?
question just that I've got is, if a staff member already has a medical aid, can they still be part of the medical insurance? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Michelle, I think you might be more clued up on regulation there.
So again, it depends. So a person can't be overinsured in certain categories. Likewise, they can't be underinsured. I know the council, I'm going to actually ask them to answer that with regards to exemptions, because as everybody has pointed out, this is a compulsory cover. And when we talk compulsory in our world, it means you have to participate. So if someone has existing cover, they would have to provide a reason as to why they're on existing cover, and if the existing cover is the same, better, and so forth. So I'm going to ask Paulus if he's still online, or Ku, if he could give some feedback on how the council wishes to handle that kind of scenario.
I was actually waiting for the GS to answer if he was still there. But in terms of that question, I just want to address the issue of the exemption, right? I think Michelle has correctly asked for Michelle to speak on the regulation part, whether you can have dual and all of that. But I think, Michelle, you've covered that part. But in terms of exemption, we're going to actually cover that. I'm glad that Michelle has raised it. Beyond the first 60 days opt-out period, because after the 60 days, like we said, a member cannot opt out of the process. Like we said, it's compulsory. However, there's an opportunity to get exempted from the process or from the scheme if, for instance, a person can show us that they have alternative cover, or that their partners, or they are part of their partners or their wives, husbands covers. So there will be an exemption process for that. So that is part of the settlement as well. So there are two opportunities to actually, in a way, not participate in this scheme. It will be the opt-out. Beyond that, no opt-out is available for you. Only exemption, where you now need to provide information and supporting documentation. But for the opt-out, all we need is just that form. As the GS said, obviously, what Michelle has presented here today, not every single employee has this information, and therefore some of them might opt out not knowing exactly what they are opting out of. They'll just, like I think one of the members was talking about the issue of people struggling to actually even having 100 rands to come to work. Some people might just opt out to say, no, I don't have 174 rands per month for this thing, but they would be opting out, not really realizing what they are giving up. So basically, Affinity and MIPCO would love that opportunity to try and convince the member for them to see the benefits they would be opting out of. So yes, in terms of opting out, we've covered that, but there's also an exemption process beyond that. Thank you.
Sorry, Swele. The reason why I'm asking that is because Michelle is giving us this presentation, right? And there's so much benefits to this compared to your normal medical aid. So that's why I'm asking. Your normal medical aid is for doctors, hospitals, and so forth. With this program of Michelle's, there's, if a guy is in a taxi accident, all those kinds of things, injury on duty. So that's why I'm asking, can they still be part of this even though they have a medical aid?
Again, I think, Colin, that becomes a regulations question. However, in terms of people that qualify, there will be your forecourt attendant, there will be your char, there will be your cashier. Those people are compulsory and they qualify to be members unless they opt out. So the only way that that I could say no to your question is if Michelle would say here that in terms of regulation, they are not allowed to. But in terms of this process, they are members and they can be members. Yeah, so I think Michelle can direct us on that one, but they are welcome to be members of this scheme.
Thank you, Swele.
So
Guys,
just if I
I'm sorry to interject. I don't think we are getting the answers that we are looking for. And please pardon me for being passionate about this point. We speak dominantly about opting out. And in the opting out, I don't think we are doing justice to our employees to give them a proper comprehension of what they are opting in, so that they can come to the level of us, of what we are talking about now as a team. Remember, we are jointly and severally liable here. With MIPCO, with everybody that is around here. But are we doing justice in making sure that employees, they understand what they are opting in for, so that they can make a very informed view of what they're going to opt out for? Once we reach that stage, we have clearly brought a comprehension in terms of the deliverables. Because we are talking vigorously about all the alternatives and stuff, and the mandatory subscription to the benefit. But there have not been a proper process of consulting to ventilate the whole idea. It's a beautiful scheme. Please don't get me wrong. But let's do justice, because I think personally, we are on the 15th today. By the 1st of Feb, this thing must be up and running. Have we given it enough time for employee participation in terms of comprehension? Let's just answer that. I understand the COO has responded. I understand everybody has responded. But for a man in a taxi, which when we go to court, we say an ordinary man, has the person comprehended to the same level? We are not at the same thinking level as they are. And this is going to end up attracting unnecessary conundrums. So let's not dilute the focus of the key question that is pertinent that needs to be responded to. Thank you.
Chair, if I may, I think we fully understand Mr. Malinga's concerns, and I think partly the GS did try to respond to some of those concerns. Now, as at yesterday, we were having meetings with Affinity and talking about the benefits, the full benefits brochure that we need to send out to employees. And we are ready to send that out. And when we started with the meeting, Michelle made a point to point out that she's excited that SAPRA has a WhatsApp group, for instance, which is going to assist exactly in what Mr. Malinga is saying. I think we absolutely understand the point, and hence this actually came from one of our regions as well that said, colleagues, people don't want to opt out of what they don't know. But like the GS said or tried to explain, we have not really been given that much leeway in terms of implementation here. This is a negotiated settlement that we've had to actually work through holidays to put in place in terms of systems and in terms of understanding and packaging between ourselves and Affinity. So that packaging process is done. The brochure is there as per the presentation that Michelle has just given. We are going to disseminate this through your networks. We are going to disseminate this through our own processes. We are going to make sure that these brochures are also reflected in our website. We fully appreciate the fact that we are on the 15th today, and this is supposed to start on the 1st of February. However, I think that's why perhaps the parties, when they negotiated, they gave it a 60-day opt-out. So basically, a person has February and March to opt out. We are not overemphasizing the opting out part, but we are simply saying it is what it is in terms of the agreement, but we are doing our level best to make sure that the very same person that is in a taxi or would have been in a train before understands exactly what they are getting, as much as this group of employers here have appreciated, some of them, what the benefits are. We want the very same to transcend to our own employees as well. Hence, even the brochures, we are going to share them with our regions. So members can actually walk into our regional offices, but we are going to use Affinity because Affinity has a national footprint. All the necessary communication and marketing strategies are going to be put in place. We are planning as well road shows with Affinity to go to every region and speak to members directly about this before people can actually say they're opting out. So it is important, I understand. So I'm trying to belabor the point, sorry. It is very important that people understand what they are joining or what they are part of before they can opt out, because we do believe that if you look at value for money, I think people are going to be benefiting from this, but they do have an opportunity to opt out. I hope I've actually responded to the question, but we definitely have the member in mind as well. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that, Koo. We all realize this is challenging, and there's going to be lots of challenges because it's a new concept. We're going through this teething exercise, and we're going to come across a number of other challenges, be assured of that. But what's good is at least we have the opportunity to engage and to deal with these. So thank you for that. Let's move on with the questions. Wasim, over to you.
Hey, Vishal. Just a point on my side for the payroll, all right? I see the cost is 259 a month. That obviously is not going to be prorated, so we need to obviously deduct that full amount from the staff. I know Paulus made a mention that there would be breaks, option to put breaks into the system. But I just obviously need to review the MIPCO system to see how the billing is going. So I just need to understand one thing. The 259 cost per month, is that are we allowed to insert breaks for the guys that obviously don't come to work, etc., etc.? Or do we just obviously on the month end deduct the guys the 259 less the 19 rand 62 or the 85 rand out? That's my first question. And then just to round off, how does this differ from an RMA policy? Because I've had incidents at a few sites of mine where we've had to come out of pocket for the incident. And after that, we were there reimbursed from RMA. So I just need to understand where that difference is. RMA not sufficient cover that we had to go this route, and what are the key differences in benefits for this? Thank you.
Okay, so it's actually two questions there, Michelle. I think
Yes.
one's for you and one's for council as well. Michelle, you want to tackle the regulatory side? Yeah.
So I'm not sure, RMA, is that
Rand
the road?
Mutual Assurance. Yeah, I think
Sorry, Michelle. So RMA is essentially a cover. It's like workman's compensation. If we have an accident, on site, I mean, I've had guys getting bumped by cars. They've been cut when they've been chasing the clamps on the hoses, etc., etc. And obviously we send them to the doctor. They get their medication, etc., etc. We pay it out of the business, and then we obviously get reimbursed
Claim
and
it
a claim.
back.
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just to background to answer your question.
Okay, so just on that, we the benefit that we are looking at offering through the value-added services is linked to the workman's comp. What will happen then is if someone needs to obtain assistance through that, and just help me understand something. Sorry, I know it's do you still use workman's comp or all your funds through the RMA?
Yes, actually, it's part of. I think I'll speak for most of the guys. RMA from like a Sasol or an engine is actually compulsory, where we'd need to declare earnings and have the policy on hand for any site injuries that do occurs or any medical assistance that the guys need on site.
Is it a top up though, or is it
it won't be a top up. So we would just basically get it'll be a yearly cover where RMA would invoice us out, and we would pay the cover per annum, and then we'd be covered for our staff.
And you don't pay COIDA at all
No,
on top of COIDA.
So we don't pay COIDA on top of all. So COIDA basically had RMA undertake the cover.
Okay, okay, got you.
Yes,
Okay.
got you.
So again, what would happen here is our team that works with COIDA would then link in with you as an entity through incidents. They will assist and manage, but I would imagine it's very similar in that, unfortunately, COIDA has a terrible name in the industry, and a lot of providers don't really want to deal with them, and that is where the benefit of ourselves comes in that we have relationships and we are able to tie you in. With regards to the figures and the values, I'm happy to look at that and see what's going on. But again, like any provider, they are more than entitled to charge what they like and not follow a defined value that they'll be charging. So we know that often, like COID and obviously the RMA, if they have a case, what they often do is load it. So I wouldn't be able to dictate that the doctors are definitely going to charge what the RMA refund amount is, but definitely the process around it, assisting, taking out the legal nightmares and the administration, definitely we can assist with. And I know that we do have providers that our team work with a lot, and we can look at, how it ties all in. So I'm happy to put you in touch with the team that works with these claims.
Happy with that. Thank you so much.
Okay, fantastic. So if that's been answered, we'll move over to the next one promptly again. Johan Els, over to you.
Okay, Fisher, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, right. I'm from Bloemfontein. I just want to clear up something. Some people has asked a question here, and they all call this, let's talk medical aid. Now, medical aid, this is not a medical aid as I understand it, because if it's a medical aid, then obviously you've got to declare it on your IRP5s to SARS, and the member can claim from SARS. But if it's a medical insurance, it's just a plain deduction. So I just want to clarify, this is an insurance, not a medical aid, because that is two different things. So I just want to clarify that everybody says medical aid. Medical aid is different than a medical insurance.
You are 100% correct. So Affinity Health is health insurance. MIPCO Health is health insurance that they are purchasing. And you are very correct. So it is a post-tax or post-SARS deduction that you'll be making that you pay over.
Okay, I just want to add on, everybody's saying about the breaks and things, but we're paying 1982 a week anyway, so it's an extra 40 Rand, 15 that if you take it, that the employee has got to pay a week. So in general, if you take 259 divided or times 12 divided by 52, the whole deduction per week basically, okay, they get 1982, and then the difference of 174 will give you 40 Rand 15 a week. So it's actually quite cheap. You've got to take the whole amount, 259, or in this case, 174, because if you take the 1982 a week out of the scenario, it's 174 times 12 divided by 52, and that will give you your weekly contribution. So I don't think it's very much for the employees, as somebody said earlier there. I think there's lots of benefits for that little bit amount of money. Thank you.
Thank you. We do, just on that note, there is a welcome pack. So as soon as we receive the information around every employer, that's why I was asking about how many petrol stations there are, we will put together a welcome pack as well. And part of that welcome pack is a little notification on how to deal with the deductions on your various pay platforms. And I'm sure the council will include it in their communication as well, because it is very, very important, and I cannot emphasize this enough, that the correct SARS code is used when making this deduction. Because if the wrong one is made, it's going to come off as medical aid. And when your employees, later on, there's tax implications to all parties. So it's very, very important. So great question. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to say SARS is not, if it's a insurance, then basically the only one that we see as an income is a 1982, on which they are taxed, and the other balance, obviously, the whole amount that they paid is not a SARS deduction as far as the employee is concerned.
Correct. It's an after-tax payment.
Good, that's right.
Thanks. That's a very important point there. Well done, Louis. I'm going to move over. Tertia, over to you. You unmuted, Tertia. You can come.
Can I maybe just add on? I suppose MIPCO will have a separate column now at the end of the day where we have the levies and all those things, and then they will have the insurance column there, maybe totaling, I think it will work up to 59.77 per week, and obviously times 4 weeks or 5 weeks. So I think they will add in a separate column on the MIPCO whole, the monthly return that we do. If maybe somebody can just answer on that.
Okay, someone from MIPCO wants to respond to that one.
No, thank you for that. We have the GM Finance, Mr. Taunyana Muleti Taunyana, if you would like to respond, sir.
Thank you, Chair. We are finalizing the process in terms of including the medical insurance in the normal forecast on a monthly basis. It will be done at the end of Jan for the month of Feb, so it will be included, yes.
Thank you, 100%.
Thanks so much. Okay, fantastic. Let's move over to Tertia. Tertia, your question, please. Tertia, you are unmuted. Okay, looks like we've got a technical glitch. We'll move over to the next one. Tabiso, over to you.
Hello, hi. Can you hear me?
Hi, Tabiso, yeah.
Yes, yes. I want to come back to the point that they made about RMI. I think somewhere in the presentation when Michelle was presenting, she said the benefit would cover accidents. And then she gave an example of an accident being if someone falls on the road and they have their leg broken and stuff like that. So to my understanding, RMI covers accidents on duty.
RMA.
Yes, RMA. So wouldn't it like have come to a point where now a member has to claim from both if they like have an accident while on duty, or AFFINITY only covers accidents outside the workplace, and then RMA covers when there's an accident on duty? I don't know if maybe that was clarified when they had their wages increase. Maybe the council can clarify us on that one.
Okay, sure. Someone from the council on that one?
I'm sorry, Chair. I missed the question. I was responding to someone. Can Marwan or Molita please answer?
Oh, that's bad.
Yes. So
Okay.
my question is, to my understanding, RMA, it covers when an employee, like they get injured while on duty. And then when Michelle was presenting, she mentioned something that the benefit would cover for accidents. And then she gave an example that an accident is if someone falls on the street and then they have their leg broken. So what I wanted to understand is, if someone gets injured on work, like on duty, are they supposed to just claim from RMA, or they can also claim from AFFINITY, or AFFINITY only covers if a person is injured but not at work, like have their accident somewhere else? So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that was like talked about in the wages agreement with the DMRE.
Through you, Chair.
Please,
And I think as MIPCO, for my side, it's the first time that I hear that there's RMA. Remember, we only can control what we are aware of, and probably this would have been better tabled at the wage negotiations, where the members of RMI would have said this is what we have as well. So I think we'll have to bring that particular question to the parties to try and unpack it. But from MIPCO's perspective, we on this medical insurance, the RMA one, it's not part of the MIPCO responsibilities for now. So we'll have to take that question and put it to the parties to the council itself to try and unpack it for you.
So if I can also just respond here, in any environment where there is a regulated authority that is responsible for expenses like road accident fund and in the rest of our environment, COIDA, what will happen is Affinity will assist in getting the member the treatment, but the claims and the payment of the claims, if it is a work-related event, or if the member's in a taxi and there's a taxi accident, or if I'm in a motor vehicle accident, it'll come out of those funds, because that is how government has defined they have to be paid. So a party like Affinity or a Discovery or a FedHealth, they won't cover those costs. They'll assist in getting the person the treatment, but the physical payment of those claims needs to come out of the regulated authority that's required to cover those costs. I hope that answers the question. So just if I can, members walking down the road and he slips and he falls off the pavement, Affinity Health will assist with covering those expenses for, like, let's say the broken leg. Member is at work and burns himself for whatever reason, it'll come out of your RMA fund or COID fund. Member's in a taxi on his way to work and the taxi has an accident and the member is injured, the road accident fund needs to cover the medical expenses for the member. Hoping that has answered this question. If it's clear.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for putting that out there. Yeah.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Let's move over. We've got Jean Geran. Your question, please.
Hi, good day. Just want to find out if employees make use of the Affinity benefits within the first 60 days and then opt out. Will those medical benefits used be recovered from the employee, and how would that be done?
If I may, the Chair.
Sure.
If the employee makes use of the benefits, the opportunity or ability to opt out falls away. So basically, the only way you can come out of the process beyond that would be through an exemption process. So, like we said, it is compulsory, and parties have said they want to give employees 60 days to opt out, which says basically you don't need to explain yourself. You're just not interested. However, if a person uses the benefits but then turns back and says, no, I want to opt out, that opportunity is no longer available for that particular person.
Thanks. Am I then correct if I say that they will need to wait 12 months before they can opt out again then, or is the opt-out then completely out of the table?
The opt-out, according to the agreement that parties signed, the opt-out is out of the table after 60 days. You know, after 60 days, the only thing that's available for them is the exemption process. That's basically what parties have agreed on.
Sorry, if I may ask, if they opt out, do they need to provide proof of their own medical aid or insurance?
No, sir. If they opt out, they don't need to provide any proof of anything. You will see on the form, we simply ask in one of the sections in the form, you know, what is your reason? Is it affordability? Is it because you have something else, or is it any other? That is just data. But they don't necessarily need to give us any reasons or give any proof. They are just not interested. The only time where you need supporting documentation is when we get to a stage, the exemption stage, where you now don't have opt-out option, where you now have to prove that actually I have cover elsewhere.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that gives some level of comfort in terms of the process. Let's keep moving on. What we will do, obviously, is as more communication becomes available, as more clarity becomes available, be assured we're going to be communicating with members as well. And I'm sure that, you know, certainly from the side of Affinity and MIPCO, that you would expect a serious, similar sort of, you know, approach. I'm going to move over to the very next question. Claudie Kanyane, over to you, Claudie. Claudie Kanyane, you can come through. There we go. Please come through. You're unmuted. Okay, looks like there's a technical glitch there. I'll move over to the next one. Claudia, you can try again just now. Amarita, over to you.
Hi, good day. Thanks for the meeting. I would like to know regarding the deductions. Obviously, on the example of the payslip that was provided, it shows that we need to add on 19 rand 62 cents per week as the medical insurance allowance. What is the amount to be deducted? And when do we start with the deduction? Because the added amount started in January already. So when do we start to deduct the amount, and what is the amount to be deducted?
Mr. Mlitetaunyan?
Council, yeah.
From the employer's point of view, the contribution will be the 85 rands, depending whether it's done weekly or not. And deductions from the employee's portion will be the 174, also taking over the number of weeks in that particular month. And all of those will be in the forecast. And all you have to do as the employer, we need to confirm those numbers from the forecast, and once you've confirmed those, sorry, someone is trying to get hold of me. So the 85 rands will be paid by the employer, and the deduction from the employee would be the 174. If it's done per weekly, it will be that 174 divided by the number of weeks. So that's how the deductions will be done.
Like I say, we don't times by 12 divide by 52 and make it just the same amount every week. Do we have to do it like per 4 weeks or per 5 weeks?
We actually had a meeting with Affinity, where the question was that they are expecting the 259 on a monthly basis. And that's one of the things that we will be communicating in terms of, do we make it a flat 259 on a monthly basis, irrespective of the weeks, but that will be communicated in due course. And I think before Monday, we would have finalized that aspect and we will communicate with the industry.
Okay, so when do the deductions start?
The first, the deductions will be at the end of, or if it's a monthly, it will be done at the end of Feb, payable by the 10th of March. So if it's done weekly, those deductions will be done weekly, and you can pay them on a weekly basis. And we have agreed with Affinity that we can also pay to them on a weekly basis. But at the end of the month, we have to do a reconciliation as MIPCO and Affinity to make sure that the full amount has been paid over to Affinity and it balances out to the full.
Okay, so in other words, the added amount started from January and deductions are only going to start for the weekly employees from the 1st of Feb.
That's correct.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you. And then I also just one question. If someone decides to apply for exemption, do we still give the 19 Rand 62 per week? It's still going to be an allowance for them, even though they're not part of the group.
Marwan?
Thank you. Yes, if they opt out or they are exempted, that 19 Rand 62 will still be payable, but then to the employee and not as a MIPCO return. As the GS or the COO mentioned previously, is that that 19 Rand 62 for the first year forms part of the negotiated increase that was approved by MIPCO and for which the Minister of Petroleum and Energy has adjusted the fuel margin. So it will always be payable to the employee, regardless of whether he opted out or not. If he's opted in, that money, that 19 Rand 62 will not then be paid to the employee. It will be paid with the rest of the 174, just to simplify it on a monthly basis, to MIPCO as part of the return.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Fantastic. Thanks for clarifying that, Marwan. Stefan, over to you. Your question, please.
Good morning. Can you clarify for me, please, if an employee opts out in the first 60 days, will they be able to opt in at a later stage, or will that option not be available to them?
If I may, Stefan, I think the idea here is to have as many members as possible so that the fund would be sustainable. If a person opts out in the first 60 days, it will be because of whatever reasons, but mostly maybe it will be because they're saying, look, I'm over indebted, I cannot afford this now. So we are not going to be in a position to say no to them should they want to opt in. The only thing that I think the proviso there though is then once they opt in, the opportunity to opt out is gone as well. So we're trying to avoid people coming in and out because then the fund was not going to be sustainable. But yes, we will welcome them should they want to join the fund. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I think all my employees said they will opt out. And as soon as this is properly explained to them and they've got time to think about it and review everything, then they'll have the option to opt in again. I think that is what will happen. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Stefan. That's actually, yeah, I think take a better informed approach. That's not a bad idea. Next question, Mashudu. Mashudu, over to you.
Thank you and afternoon. I just want to get clarity with regards to people allowed to be part of this. A year we're talking cashier, petrol attendant, and char. What about the managers and the back office? The reason I'm asking that is I thought is everybody who's part of the MIPCO. So if that is the case, they've been part of the 85 rand. What does that mean? Do I go back to them and take away that money, or are they part of it? Thank you.
I think someone from
Marwan?
council, yeah.
Sorry, just repeat that again. I lost you a bit with my signal. I'm battling with the connection issues.
No,
Okay.
no, that's
So
Just briefly, Vishal, if you've got it, I've lost you even now.
I'm back.
Oh,
I can repeat. So
Okay.
I'm hearing that people allowed to join is the petrol attendant, cashier, and char. What about the managers and back office? I thought this was for everybody who's part of the MIPCO group. So due to the fact that at least they've been getting this benefit, do we go back and take it away? And then what will be the explanation? Because I believe that they feel that they are part of the negotiation of the wages because they form part of that. Thank you.
No, you are correct that we're specifically talking about the distinction between your Division A employees and your Division B employees. This was negotiated specifically for your Division A employees, which is your cashier, your char, your cashier, and your forecourt attendant. The Division B employees hasn't been factored in. They are seen as more privileged type of employees, and also it's that their conditions of employment differs slightly to, or differs quite substantially to your Division A employees, or not A, Division C employees. It's B and C. Your Division C employees are basically straight out wage-related rate of pay. Your Division B employees will be employees that could be affected by years of service and other conditions as well. So it is very clear, and the settlement agreement and the agreement is very clear. It's the way that it's published. It's applicable to the Division C employees, which is your char, your cashier, and your forecourt attendant.
Okay, I think that answers that question. Thank you for that, Marwan. Let's keep moving. Engine Kanankop, your question, please. Engine Kanankop, if you could unmute. Okay, looks like there's a technical glitch there. We'll move over to Bongiwe. Your question, please, Bongiwe.
Good afternoon. My question is about the medical centers. I see we are in Mpumalanga in Nelspruit, and I don't see that when you're doing a presentation, you've mentioned Mpumalanga. And I understand that you're still looking for doctors that are affiliated to Affinity. Just please explain to us that we are not, you didn't forget about us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I think good question, and I can understand the confusion. A medical center is a facility that we have contracted with that is a actual physical building, and in that building there are some health services that are offered for day-to-day. Can you all hear me? For day-to-day events. We are constantly looking with the medical society for venues and places, and there's got to be a feasibility in order to have one set up where members are going to have enough members. We must not confuse this with doctors. Affinity Health has a national network of doctors, just under, I think, 3,000 GPs throughout the whole of South Africa that participate in our network. So I can definitely assure you that there are doctors in Mpumalanga that your members would be able to make use of. And we mustn't confuse Medical Society Centre. Medical Society Centre is a facility that members can use, but they're not limited to that centre. They will still have access to doctors that are private doctors throughout the whole of South Africa. You can also go onto our network, onto our website. And if you look on the banner at the top, and I will include in the information I'm going to share with SAPRA the little link that you can go onto, and if you put in your area, it'll pick up all the doctors in our network that are in the area. Okay, hope that answers that question.
Fantastic. Bongiwe, are you satisfied?
100%. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm getting
excellent.
a heart. Thank you for that. I'll take
Lovely.
it.
Lovely.
Deserve a heart. We need doctors. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Okay, Engine, Iris Motors, your question, please.
Good afternoon. My question is with regards to the health allowance that the forecourt guys and the cashiers and the chairs have been getting. So I want to know if the 19 Rand 62 that has been allocated to them on the earnings side, will it coexist with the 85 Rand that is supposed to be deducted on a monthly basis? And then the second question is, from my side, we have got the merchandisers that are responsible with the stock. Are they included in that health allowance? As I did get from you guys presenting that the only guys that were factored in were the forecourt attendants, the cashiers, and the chairs. Thank you.
Council, you want to just clarify that?
No, thank you. I think my one would have covered it a bit, and I think we covered it before, but because of network, I understand. The 85 rands and the 1962 interchangeable. It's the same allowance. It's 85 rands a month, but if you calculate it weekly, it becomes 1962. So they are coexisting. It's the same thing. I don't want to say coexisting. It's the same thing. Okay, so it's not an additional off. Now, I think Marwan has just clarified on who is covered in this medical insurance. Unfortunately, per the negotiated settlement or agreement, it's the forecourt attendants, cashiers, and chairs that are part of the scheme. But the GS did indicate earlier when a similar question was asked about management, whether there's an opportunity for people to join. And he did mention that we are meeting with parties next week, and that voluntary membership to the fund is something that we are going to try and put into the agenda. And it's going to be up to parties whether they have appetite for that. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's a future consideration, which would be, I guess, when a position is taken on that, it'll be communicated back to industry that there's been, further extensions to who can and can't participate in the fund.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
thank you for that. Let's move to the next question. Louis. Louis, over to you. Come through, Louis. It looks like we have a technical glitch again.
Hello.
Is that Louis?
No, this is Engine Kanonkop.
Okay, Engine Kanonkop, you want to come through?
Thank you for this opportunity. Like, to be quite honest with you guys, we are still in the dark. We don't have any clarification, so forth of what's happening here. Like, we need some deep insight of how this thing really works, because we have no clarification as he's speaking right now.
Okay, sure. That's an interesting one. What we will do is the entire recording of today's session will be shared, together with the presentations, and hopefully that'll give you enough of information to be able to reflect on, and certainly your contact persons who to contact should you wish to engage on a very particular topic. I think that would be the best way to explain that, because there's quite a bit of information that has been shared. And I know it's been difficult with all the challenges and stuff like that. But be that as it may, we will as well share all the information so that you won't be left out of this process. I hope that answers your question. I know it's a difficult one. Everyone's sitting in kind of a similar spot. Wherever we can assist, we're going to be assisting. Happy with that?
Not quite, but okay, I'm happy.
Okay. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm going to move over with the questions. We've got a few minutes left. Payroll. It comes up as payroll on my side. Payroll external. I don't know who that is, but please come
Hi,
through with your question. Thank you.
good afternoon. Speaking to Yvette's Engine Millennium. I want to ask the opt-out forms, when we receive them, where do we submit them to? And also, once we obviously maybe send them to MIPCO, how do we, advise MIPCO of the opt-out forms? Will MIPCO automatically remove those employees from the future forecast for this health insurance?
It's a good question. That's a very good question. MIPCO, you gonna come through?
I will address the issue of where you send them to. I think as indicated earlier, the form will have contact details of our regions wherever you might be. You will submit these forms in your nearest regional office, and we are going to process them accordingly in the system. And yes, once the opt-out forms are received, I think, as we said earlier, we'll obviously give Affinity and ourselves an opportunity to try and clarify what the benefits are and whatever questions people might have. I think one of the people online said, look, it looks like their employees might just opt out. Pending full understanding of the process, which we understand full understanding of the process, and we are going to try and do that as well before we finalize the opt-out. But yes, people are not going to be expected to pay for something they've opted out of. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. That clarifies that one. Duduzile, your question, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm hoping that you can hear me. So I have a number of questions. I work as a payroll practitioner for an accounting practice, and we obviously provide a service to a lot of fuel stations, motor spares, and so forth, which are part of or well have membership with MIPCO. So the first question I have is directed towards MIPCO. I know we've spoken a lot about the fuel stations, but I want to find out if motor spares employees will be considered, maybe in the long run. Secondly, my next question is, do we have a turnaround time for the road shows? It's very difficult dealing with the guys at the site. And obviously, right now, like a lot of us have shared, we're not really sure as to how this is going to work. There's quite a lot of concerns. Do we have a turnaround time when we speak to our guys on site about Affinity Health? Can we assure them that somebody will pop through and obviously just answer their questions? Because there are going to be questions which we are not going to be able to answer. So I would like to suggest that, I know that it's a bit of a large scale, but I would like to suggest that, we get a representative from Affinity Health, whether it's done provincially. Because currently I'm based in KZN, and my firm deals with about 4 or 5 fuel stations. So you can already imagine the questions that are going to come through from all the guys. So turnaround time on that, and if we can actually get a representative. Then I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself. I know that MIPCO is still going to present, but is it possible for us to get a payslip template or mock payslip, just so that we have an idea, whether it's sent to us via email and so forth? And then maybe this is just going to touch on what my second question, which was the turnaround time. It's the 15th of January today. There's quite a lot that needs to happen. Some of us haven't even really had a chance to speak to the employees. Also, next month, it's towards the end of a financial year end for most of us. Is it not possible for MIPCO and Affinity Health to, have a look at the onboarding date of everything, perhaps move it into the new financial year? Is that a bit of a stretch, or is it something that can be looked into? Thank you so much.
There's a number of questions there. Maybe I'll suggest, Council, if you want to come through first to answer some of those questions, especially relating to, the parts environment, the roadshow, and the mock payslip.
Thank you, Michelle. The parts environment, I think, again, it falls or is related to the earlier questions about inclusion of other sectors and other occupational codes. And we've said that we are going to deal with that. We present that to parties next week, because clearly there is appetite, and we are going to get direction from parties. This is their agreement, so we'll be directed by them. And when I say parties, by the way, I'm talking about the people that I'm responding to here online. So you, through your representatives, you are going to give us direction. We simply are implementers. We're just administrators of what you have agreed you want to implement. Road shows, we've partly addressed that. Affinity has an appetite to do road shows nationally. So in terms of what that looks like and whether they have enough people to tackle every province at the same time, I'll allow Michelle to respond to that partly, but we are definitely going to do road shows and talk to employees on the ground. Payslip template, I'll let Marwan respond to that, but I think there was a circular that was sent out that did have a payslip template, but Marwan can expand on that. But we are happy to resend that to industry. Just before Marwan responds, let me just respond to the last question. Can we move when you say onboarding, I assume you're talking about commencement date. That's my assumption. Commencement date, colleagues, was moved from 1st January to 1st February because we raised these issues with parties and said we are really not giving it enough time. If we say in January we'll be ready to implement everything, and they said no, it's fine, it shall be 1st February, but we are not going to move that date. So again, even the 1st of February has been extended from 1st January, and parties are not willing to further extend from there. So yes, we are basically working with what we have been given and what we have been given as our marching orders. Marwan, if you may please attend to the payslips template.
Thank you, Spe. Yes, colleagues, we have sent out a circular in 2025, basically illustrating on a dummy payslip how the 85 Rand allowance should be paid to the employee. But going forward, we will most likely issue another circular with an updated payslip that will include the allowance as well as the employee contribution to total up to the 259 Rand per month. Again, I'm simplifying it and not going weeks because we know that we still, as mentioned by other spokespersons, that we're still in the process of refining the weekly calculation, which will be communicated in due course, as mentioned by the finance manager as well. So for now, yes, colleagues, also with regards to the training and the road shows, we are planning, and I will reach out to Michelle and the AFFINITY team. As I said, we are in collaboration, and we know that we have got to reach out to the employees as soon as possible. The likelihood is that we will have online sessions, and we will probably facilitate that through the resources of the employers. But at this stage, we know that our training is threefold, as we've mentioned in meetings previously. One is focused at the employers, which we are busy having now. We will also have it with our other party association, and we will also have it for non-parties in the next few days. And as I said, the other part is the employees, and we will engage and advise industry when that will happen. And then lastly is the training of our staff, both MIPCO as well as the AFFINITY staff, on processes and how to respond to questions, frequently asked questions, and so forth. But yeah, for now, in terms of payroll and in terms of training, that's the responses from me. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Bear.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Marwan. Perhaps just one part of that question that you were to defer, the roadshows and Michelle and the role they would play there. Spear, you did mention something to that effect. Michelle, on the roadshows?
Correct. So we are, as indicated by both parties, in discussion with MIPCO around how we're going to do these roadshows, what it's going to entail, how we're going to work together. I think today's session was aimed at getting the information to the employers. And I did allude to it earlier, there is going to be roadshows throughout South Africa with the team that does that kind of stuff. And again, anybody here that wants to reach out and ask me to put them in touch with the teams that are doing it, they're more than welcome to.
Fantastic, Michelle. Thank you so much for that. I see we are over the scheduled time. It's 1:10. We're 10 minutes over, but we still have hands raised. I will continue to take those questions. And what I will do procedurally is the remaining questions that are in the box, we will respond to you with a frequently asked question type of response for everyone, trying to address all of the queries that have been raised. We'll move over to the next question. Liesel Smith, over to you.
Hi, how are you?
We all good. We all good.
Good. That's actually what I wanted to know, if the questions in the chat box will be answered also, because there's a lot of very factual and very information-based questions that are in the box. That's actually what I wanted to know.
Sure, no, and that's a valid question. And I'm sure many people, there's still 500 people in this meeting. I'm sure many people are expecting the same sort of answer. Yes, we will go through those questions. A lot of them have similarity in terms of the way they have been pitched. We'll go through the questions with the parties, the critical stakeholders here being AFFINITY and MIPCO, and we'll make sure that there's going to be answers, certainly a frequently asked question type of answer response that everyone can, engage with. And then, of course, beyond that, there will also be a contact person should you need to engage further.
Just a little bit more clarity, so we can give it over to our staff, because that is going to be the
Absolutely.
Yes, that's going to be the big one to have our staff on board.
Completely. The adoption of this is an important exercise and needs to be done very carefully. Like mentioned previously, the opt-in, opt-out, and explaining to them how it works, etc., etc. So no, we do understand that it is completely new, lots of challenges, but we'll try and hold each other's hands through the process so that we make sure that we don't leave anyone behind. I think that's the objective. But thank you for that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
In Afrikaans, ons gaan hom vat soos hy kom.
Net so.
Okay, dankie. Bye.
There we go. Okay, next one over to Marlies. Marlies, your question, please. Marlies to Priya.
Hello.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we do payrolls for about 55 filling stations. and some of them are actually in arrears with their MIPCO returns. How will that affect the money that will be paid to Infinity on a monthly basis?
Mr. Tonian?
Hello?
Through you, Chair. Yes, thank you. I think one of the reasons why we are engaging with the employers is because of the sensitivity of the medical insurance aspect, because it's unlike the other aspects of the collections that we do. And this one, remember, it deals with the safety of or the health of your employees. So if the the employer is behind with their contributions, then it means that those employees are not going to be covered. And the preamble there, we had to engage with Affinity, which is why we're saying that for the month of Feb, we're going to do the collections by the 10th of March. We had to literally sit with them and say, guys, this is how the council works. This is how we've normally done things, and this is the impact. And they've understood that. And they said, it's fine. We will allow you to do that, but going forward, there has to be a way of making sure that we up to date with the contributions. So from our side, we're saying from the employers, we need to plea with you to make sure that when we raise those forecasts, please have a look at those forecasts. Notify us if they are incorrect. Let's do the adjustments before the payments are done, because now it includes the health insurance. And if it's not paid, then all those employees are going to fall off that particular medical insurance. And from Affinity, there would be an attempt through MIPCO to try and recover those premiums. But the window period, it's not as vast as it is with other funds. So we really depend on the employers to try and be up to date and make sure that they again become online users so that they can do their forecast, or their returns through the system, which makes it a lot easier from a MIPCO's perspective. I hope I've answered that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, fantastic. Martin van Wyk, your question, please.
Michelle, good afternoon. Just a question to Michelle. Is normally insurance premiums have to be paid in advance? Here we're paying premium in arrears. Won't that be a problem? And then a suggestion from my side, can Affinity do a presentation and give us a link and do a YouTube presentation that we can show that YouTube presentation, or give the link to our employers to go and look on their own time at the medical aid. With that, they can add a question, a Q&A on that, and put a lot of, as people asking questions, they can put the questions on that and to put the answers on that, and everybody can look at the questions and see what the answers is. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a good suggestion, Michelle.
It is, yes. I'll definitely take the suggestion back around the YouTube. We haven't had a request for that before, but what we do have is a short video clip that I am going to share with SAPRA that is aimed at the members, that talks about all the little benefits and how they can access them. It is in English. Unfortunately, it's not in any vernacular language, but it's very easy, very basic English, which we will share. And if this forum, and I need to find a way to communicate more often, and I'm going to pull on the resources of SAPRA, if I hope they don't mind, find that that's not sufficient and adequate in the beginning, then definitely we can look at alternatives. And with regards to your second or your first part of your question, was you're quite correct. Typically, health insurance premiums are to be paid in advance. MIPCO and Affinity Health reached an agreement that as a special arrangement for MIPCO, we will collect premiums in arrears.
Okay, thank you for that, Michelle. That answers that quite nicely. Duduzile, you're back. Duduzile, your question? Duduzile, over to you. You need to unmute. Okay, I'll move to the next question. In the meanwhile, Lindy Bauer, over to you.
Hi, everyone. So my question is about when the employees go on maternity leave, of ours that is unpaid maternity leave. So for those 4 months, obviously there will be no contributions because I take it you'll also put in a break on the MIPCO system. So my question is, what happens with the benefits of the insurance? Is it then placed on hold for that 4 months that we are not contributing, or how would that work with maternity leave?
Michelle, I'm sure you'll answer that.
Okay, so in our world, we are health insurance. In order for members to have access to benefits, we would require a premium.
Okay, so while the employee is now on maternity leave, she won't have any access to any of the benefits.
Correct. If there's no premium being received for your employee, then there is no benefits that can be offered.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. That was quick. John Matthews, your question.
Oh, there we go. That's Michelle. Thanks very much for running the meeting, man. It's been pretty comprehensive. I've just got 2 small questions. The one is, obviously people can opt out. Let's say they choose to opt out, they can just opt straight back in. There's no barrier to opting in.
Okay, perhaps someone from MIPCO can clarify this point again, the opt-in, opt-out process. Once you've opted out, what can happen or can't happen?
Okay. Again, I think once you opt out, now I'm taking it, we're talking about the first 60 days. That's when the opt-out is applicable. Like we've tried to explain that, people might say, no, look, I'm not interested. Look, I can't afford this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I don't want it. So I'm opting out. We'll try and convince them, but yeah, if they say no, they say no. But we will not stop them from opting back in, because as long as they are still part of Sector 5 and they are under those occupations, we are not going to say no to them joining the scheme. But once they join the scheme, then they cannot opt out.
Okay, 100%. That's great. And then the next question, sorry, just one for Michelle. I just wanted to know if there's an online nursing and, let's say, doctors portal. I'm just worried a little bit about doctors' notes that can be issued via an SMS or online or without the consultation.
Okay, so I think the first thing we need to specify is that there will always be a consultation if there is a virtual consultation. So it's not a case of, the member just calls in and he accesses benefits. There is a full consultation that takes place, whether it be the nurse that is assisting the member or one of the virtual doctors or a telephonic consultation with a doctor that is in the medical society space. It is a proper full consultation that meets about 16 or 18 clinical questions. After that, those clinical questions have been asked, and if it is deemed that is outside of the scope of this consultation and it is something that needs a physical consultation, the member will be referred. So, however, if the member has consulted and it forms part of the scope of the clinical practitioner that is consulting, and it has been a telephonic consultation, the clinical nurse, the doctor can issue a sick note. They're legally allowed to. They will issue that sick note. It'll be sent to the member via WhatsApp.
Okay, but
And
there is a professional opinion behind.
Well, I challenge you on that because it's a legal document. It is legally allowed to be issued in that format. And there are some safety mechanisms that we have insisted Medical Society, who is our service provider, have on there. Things like there's sequencing and reference numbers, as well as a QR code, which allows you as the employer to validate that this employee did receive a consultation, the date of the consultation, who the provider was that did the consultation, as well as their practice number.
Okay, perfect. No, that's great. Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Hey, fantastic. Thank you for that. Mr. Firi, your question, Mr. Firi.
Okay, my question is, I don't know if this question was already asked, so maybe I'm late due to the network issue here on my side. So the question is, the 1st of February, will the employer get a document to say from the staff to say you are allowed to deduct certain amount as a medical insurance? or health insurance, will there be a document to say employer is allowed to do this and that?
Okay, so you want to know if there's authorization to act and something that you can use to show to your employees. That's what you're requesting. Council, you want to come in?
Chair, if I may, one of the documents would be the settlement agreement, which is an agreement that binds parties. Another document, Chair, would be the circular that was sent by NIPCO to say this is what the medical health insurance looks like. Just like when we send out the main agreement or the admin agreement or the funds agreements, those are applicable and binding. Council does not send a letter that says, employer, you can deduct A, B, C, D. It's contained in those agreements. And therefore, the agreements that have been sent to parties, the circular, those are legal documents that are binding to all parties in the industry. So again, it's compulsory that is written in the agreement that parties concluded, which means then that gives you powers to actually deduct. And number two, people have an opportunity to not participate. So hence the opt-out clause or form. If they don't feel that, if they don't exercise that option, then they are deemed to be members of the fund.
Okay, fantastic.
And
Thank you.
also, sorry, Vishal,
No.
as the GM Finance would have indicated as well. Remember, MIPCO sends forecasts and what have you. So this will be included in the February focus. So this is going to be included, and it's unless people opt out, those deductions are going to have to be made because it's going to be part of the return system as things are now, unless parties decide otherwise. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for that. I hope that answers that question. Duduzile, I know you had your hand up again. Do you still have a question you want to ask? Duduzile? Okay, it doesn't look like we have a Duduzile. It could be technical glitches, but be that as it may, there is though a hand from Gumbi Viva Labor Brokers. You want to come through with your question, please?
Thank you for the platform given, Chair. Through you, I just want to clarify myself. I believe there is a grace, at least a 6 months grace period for a new employer to register or rather to join MIPCO. So I just wanted to find out through Affinity, is there any grace period given to the employer before registering a newly appointed employee to the fund, or immediately after the employee is employed, then definitely they must join in? As hence it was mentioned that the fund is automatically generated and the member will be automatically added. Thank you.
So, thank you.
Go ahead, Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Sipilele. I was actually going to suggest that you answer that. Please. Thank you.
The 6 months grace period applies, does not apply in this fund. This is a medical health insurance fund. The only grace period a person has when they join the company or join your fueling station is 60 days opt out. that's the grace. That's the grace that they have. They can opt out and not be part of. But in terms of being part of the medical health insurance, I think parties would have considered this at length, like the GS said. It's not a new consideration, and parties would have then come to a conclusion that this is a need for the industry. So, not unless Marwan, you know anything in that agreement that I don't know, but I don't think there is such a grace period. Thank you.
Now you're spot on, Spe. There's only for Provident Fund, nothing for medical insurance. So it kicks in from the 1st of Feb.
Fully
Okay.
satisfied. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Duduzile, over to you. Your question, please.
Thank you. I hope I'm clear now. Sorry, I was
We
having
can
mic
hear you.
issues there.
We can hear you.
Just a quick question for Michelle. I know that the commencement date is the 1st of Feb. I didn't hear you mentioning anything about employees receiving medical insurance cards with their membership numbers, of course, I mean, for HR purposes. And also the second question that I have for you, Michelle, is that I don't know if you touched on this, I may have missed it. If an employee collapses on site, and first instance it would be to instinct to call an ambulance. How does the authorization work? I know that health insurance is quite strict on that. Obviously, with ambulances, an employee or patient will be taken to the closest hospital, or like what happens in that instance? Can you just clarify that for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, great question. No one's asked about the membership cards. So the each member will receive a membership card. It'll be a virtual membership card. We are in the final processes of discussing the dissemination of this with the MIPCO Council. I know there's a discussion a little bit later around exactly how this is going to work, and we'll roll it out, and I'll definitely make sure to make use, and I reiterate, I'm very excited to hear that the SAPRA are quite organized and they have these these different WhatsApp groups, so we'll communicate it on there. Members also in our environment are able to access benefits by using their ID number, and our call centers are able to, provided the members' information has been shared with us through the membership file that we'll receive from MIPCO. Members can call in with their ID number, answer some validation questions, and we'll be able to assist them with benefits, because we understand that cards can get lost and so forth. With regards to if someone collapses on site and the ambulance, I'm not sure if you caught the beginning, but we have that IR app. Is something that I strongly recommend that is downloaded. And on that app, what you can do, even as the employer, download it, and you can hit that panic button. The IR team will call you back. They will be able to validate if this member of yours is actually a valid member, if their membership is up to date. They will dispatch an ambulance or a paramedic on scene. The paramedic will stabilize the person and then be in touch with us, and a treatment plan will be decided about what was the cause of the collapse, where does the member need to go for treatment, and so forth.
Okay, fantastic, Michelle. Thank you so much. I see there's still more questions coming through. We still have over 400 people in attendance. I'll continue to take the questions, where your hands are raised, and for those that are in the box, we will respond in writing. Albaranti HR, your question, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, how would this work for seasonal workers? Like if you employ someone over Easter or Christmas and they're not even employed with you for over a month, then do they get 1 month cover or what?
That's a good question. I'm wondering whether council should answer this one.
Mm.
No, I was actually going to ask Michelle to answer. No, go ahead, Michelle.
I was going to defer it back to you, because in our world, cover is compulsory, and the category of employee would be like we've spoken about, and I know we've gone through it quite a bit, so don't shoot me if I get the division wrong, but depending on the category of employee, If they're one of those employees and they fall into that category and they're a permanent employee, if I'm not mistaken, you'd have to help me and guide me here based on what your collective agreement says. Then they would be on cover for the period. But if they're not, we would have to wait and see what the council decides when they submit their monthly schedule to us.
Okay, thank you.
Again, the option of opting out is there, and I'm not in any way marketing that option. But you just said an example that a person is working for you for a month, and they're out of your employ. So I'm not really sure whether you would benefit that person to be a member for a month. I'm not really sure. So I think the option of opting out is there.
But the option to opt out is valid until the 31st of March. What if I employ someone for over Easter? That's in April. Then the option to opt out isn't there.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, so
It's
then the person
actually-
gets covered for 1 month and he has to be there because I have to put him on my payroll and I have to submit my council levies. So he'll be on my council levies.
No, I'm trying to answer you that no, it's not only valid until 31st of March.
Okay, so it's 60 days
No.
from the time that person is employed by your company.
Yes, basically it's 60
Okay.
days from 1st of Feb for those who are already employees.
Okay.
But for those who
Okay.
be newly employed, they have 60 days as well to opt
Okay.
out. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay, fantastic. We're getting there. Jolene Barnard, your question, please.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
I just want to clarify. I just want to make 100% sure. You've said it's only the forecourt attendants, the cashiers, and the charge. What I'm concerned about is that we have a few general workers that is more or less on the same grade as the cashiers. Are these employees also excluded from this agreement?
Marwan?
Yes, if they are not registered on the MIPCO database as cashier or forecourt attendant
Okay,
or
so
charge.
if they're not classified into those categories, so then obviously on the system it will not pull through
Yes.
or show that that amount should be paid for them.
Correct, yeah. I mean, we've got, that's why we said previously, we know that there are different types of occupations within the Sector 5 environment that are not cashiers, chars, or forecourt attendants, but this is only applicable to those employees. So if there's a general worker or a gardener or anything else, they're not included, yeah.
Okay, now I'm just double checking just to make sure that my payroll sets that up. Our payroll just sets it up correctly so that we don't pay. We can rather fix it if we don't pay them and it was incorrect rather than paying them and trying to get it back. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, cool. We've got one more hand raised, and that's Hussein. Hussein, over to you. Hussein, you need to unmute.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, Michelle, you made mention of the cards that are virtual cards, membership cards that are going to be handed out or that will be available to the employees. But we've got a lot of employees also that are maybe 50 and also going on towards the retirement age and they don't use smartphones. Is there going to be a provision for physical cards being handed out to employees that they can carry in their wallets? Thank you.
Okay, not at this stage. I would have to take that back to the team and see, because there's obviously additional information that is required, logistics and so forth. But to reiterate, if the member has appeared on the schedule that we receive from MIPCO and the member contacts us and we use ID number as an identifier, and the member is able to answer any of the validation questions and he requires treatment, we can send to the provider, if it's a doctor that he needs to see or a hospital, a copy of his membership certificate, which will verify that he is on cover. If the member is receiving treatment from one of our medical society centers or from one of the telehealth people, he will not need his membership card. So I'm going to, if you don't mind, park the card issue. We do have a session with MIPCO where we will raise it and provide feedback.
Just one other thing also, if in a case where a member is now unconscious and we can't access his medical or he can't answer those questions through the telephonic call, maybe the physical card is something that another employee or the employer can actually show or then respond on his behalf so that they can get the medical assistance. Thank you.
Okay, great question. Two things. The IR app is, as I said, speaks for you when you can't speak. That app, if the member has loaded that app on his phone and he's put all his information on there, it links directly, and our system will be able to identify that this telephone number is linked to, for example, Michelle Meervis, and they'll be able to assist. And second of all, what we can also do is we can provide to the employers that request copies of membership certificates that they can keep on record for their members for instances like that.
Yeah, but Michelle, if my cell phone, if I'm unconscious and I can't unlock my cell phone, I'm not going to get any help. I won't be able to access the app.
Remember, in a situation of an emergency, the person must receive appropriate care immediately. So if someone is unconscious and lying on the side of the road and I walk past and I have that, for example, I have the IR app, I push that button, the paramedics will arrive and they will stabilize and then make a decision. If it is the employee and he collapses at work, you should be able to answer as the employer, or his colleagues or your manager or the site supervisor should be able to answer some of the validation questions we require. We will be able to validate that this person actually works for MIPCO and the information that they are providing ties back, and we will dispatch an ambulance to assist. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Listen, I think what's come out of the session is people are hungry for information, and especially on something completely new. So we understand as industry that this is a new concept. There's lots that needs to be answered. Be assured, certainly you can see from our side as SAPRA, we've taken an active involvement in this process to make sure that members are appraised, and we're trying to get the right critical stakeholders around the table to answer those questions. Beyond this exercise, we will as well communicate further. Just to give you some comfort, know that we've already got the videos, we've already prepared a YouTube channel, etc., etc., etc. And we're going to start to put that out to members so that they can pick up on this. I mean, it's going to be a 2.5 hour listen. That's how long the session has been. So bear that in mind. But beyond that, there will also be, lines of assistance, contact people to contact should you have any queries. And hopefully we can make this a seamless process for everyone, in terms of how we navigate this forward. What we'll certainly do is share all contact details of the presenters and the stakeholders from MIPCO so that you're able to engage. And I think beyond that, what's important as well is the next series to follow in this session. That's already scheduled, if not to be another session like this, is Let's Talk Licensing, and that's based on the fact that retail licenses are coming up for renewal. So we will have a session coming up very soon. Look out for that. And yeah, certainly from our side as SAPRA, to our stakeholders that have participated, to Affinity, to MIPCO, thank you for your participation. Thank you. We know it's been a long session. It's been a very long session, actually. But what's clear to us is, like I said previously, and I'll say it again, industry is hungry for this type of information. So we're going to hold your hands through this process, and hopefully, implementation will become as seamless as it's supposed to be, albeit a new process. So from our side, SAPRA and the team, we thank you, our stakeholders. We thank you for participating, and certainly to our members, this has been an exceptional session. We've never had this type of attendance previously. It is a record attendance on our side. So we do appreciate the engagement. We understand the engagement is critical, and we will be communicating further. I'm not sure, Henry, are you still in the meeting? I know Henry's been in and out of the meeting because he's had other meetings to attend to in the meanwhile, but he's not in the meeting.
Yeah, Michelle, I'm still in the meeting.
Sorry,
Sorry, I
okay,
just
Henry,
couldn't.
Henry, over to you.
Yes, I'm still in the meeting.
Thank you.
No, I'd just like to echo what you said. I appreciate all the presenters. There's a lot of questions. I think there's, for me, what's critical for me is the employees need to take the decision, and I'm really asking Affinity so that we can give a video, whatever, to the employees so they can take an informed decision, because at this stage they have not got the information, and I'm concerned about that. I've raised it in the past. You know, the roadshows and things like that, I'm not sure how it's going to work, but you know, we've got a few days left, and I don't think it's fair towards the employees to take this quick decision, and it's very difficult for employers as well to do all this in a short period of time. I think it should have been done earlier, but be that as it may, let's assist where we can. We've got the communication channels, we've got everything, so let's do it like that. And I really appreciate all the attendance from everybody, and again to the president, to yourself and all the presenters. Thanks a lot.
Fantastic. I see there's one more hand raised before we close the meeting. Liesel Smith, you want to come through with your question?
Yes, there's actually a suggestion that I have. We are an Engine site, so we have an iPad on our site that my staff does their e-learn on. I don't know if Shell or BP has the same type of setup for e-learn. Maybe Michelle can make a module with comprehensive information about how to use the app, how to do this, and then Engine can put it on the e-learn, and it is at the site, so they can access it directly, and they can rewatch if they need more information. So the e-learn, you can rewatch the module or the video, and there's questions that you have to answer to make sure that you understand the whole comprehensive learning experience about this specific topic. So maybe we can engage some of the like Engine, BP, Shell to get maybe this also, and then maybe the road shows and the far off regions will also have access to the same details as the roadshow will be given.
Liesel, that's an excellent suggestion. Michelle, I'm not sure, you want to come in responding to that? I know you've got a video already, whether the video will suffice for that purpose or not, or whether it's going to be a separate e-learning type of module. Maybe come in there and respond to that if you don't mind.
Thank you, Vishal. Great suggestion, Liesel. You know, what I've done today is made a lot of notes. There's a lot of, I think you as a team know your industry better than anyone else, which is to be expected. So if I can just take that information back and talk to my marketing team and see if it is possible. If I'm understanding correctly, Engine have this functionality, the other petrol station.
No, I don't know. We're an Engine site, so I can't answer for the others, but we have
I'm
an
just saying.
iPad. So it will also work out the smartphones. It will also shift out that they cannot access all the information on the smartphones, because not all my staff does have smartphones, and some of them leave their smartphones at home, because in the taxi ride to here they all have like the Nokia 3310 little phones, because it gets stolen, they get mugged in the taxi, so they can't always bring their smartphone to work. That's the other problem.
Okay, so sorry. So maybe
sort it out.
Okay, sorry. So maybe I misunderstood. I thought it was an e-learning platform that Engine had, but you're saying it's not. It's so there isn't. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest then, and I remember seeing that there are Engine and different spokespeople. I'd like to be in touch with Engine to see how it works, how we can partner, and so forth. So if I can park that. And then I will reach out to Engine and see how it works. I see Vishal's nodding his head, so I'm going to call on him to give me the contact person about how we can tie into it and start putting that information in there and what is needed from our side, and if my business is comfortable that we do that. And then obviously if it is something that the other petrol stations, companies, I don't know what the right word is, I don't want to offend anyone, have similar, then we can reach out to them too. So thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. We will, I'll definitely call on Vishal for the information, and I'll reach out and we'll see how we can tie in. And then, you know, as you say, your employees have that access on the iPad at your facility.
They can get the training, they can see how everything works. I see actually in the comments, if you look at the comments, Shell has it, Sasol has also a platform. If you look at the comments now that's in the meeting, the chat box.
Yep.
So there is a lot of stations that actually have this functionality that we can use to give our staff more background about Affinity. So I think that this is going to actually work better, and the road shows will be a little less maybe on you guys. It's a lot of petrol stations.
Yeah,
That's true.
5,000 odd. Thank you very much for bringing that up, Lizelle. I appreciate that. And I see Usha's hand is up, and I'm not sure if she's got anything on it.
Okay.
Yeah, perhaps Usha Purushottam, you want to add to that point?
Yes, please. Thanks so much, everybody. So I also want to just maybe highlight that we are also going to be updating the MIPCO website from a consolidated view. Instead of using it for each individual service station brand, or if I could call it that, we should also consider using the MIPCO website. We are already in talks with our website developers on what sort of information we're going to put in there. So everything that everyone's talking about right now, because MIPCO would be a central point, we're also talking about linking with Affinity so that if there's anything specific that you would need from Affinity, you would have the link on the MIPCO website. People are familiar with the MIPCO website. They're familiar with our toll-free number. So those are things that we are looking at as far as providing the marketing materials, the FAQs. So you don't have to go to different sites all the time. Just something that I wanted to add to maybe try and provide more of a consolidated view from a MIPCO perspective as far as information sharing goes.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you for that, Usha. That's very useful. And Michelle, I think we've now come to the end. I don't see any more hands raised.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Well done. Great session. I know it brings more questions than answers, but I hope we've had a lot of those questions that were lingering in our head at least answered. And, you know, certainly there'll be more information to follow in the communication that comes from here on out. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and have a good afternoon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Cheers.
guys. Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.